I'd like to call the meeting to order and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We all sing a song too.
No, just the people at their second meetings.
So do you want to do roll call? Are you the secretary?
No.
No, Susan. Are you the secretary? Oh, you want to do roll call?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Sam Barna.
Here?
Sue Basardi.
Here.
Rod Charles.
Present.
Bill Don.
Here?
Dorothy Johnson. Here. Johnston. Gina Malaya.
Here.
Pete Schultz.
Here.
Regina Woodson.
Here.
Susan Scherr. Here.
Okay. Approval of the proposed agenda.
Move to approve.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Dunn, supported by Malaya. All in favor?
Aye.
Both same sign. Approval of the October 17th regular meetings minutes.
I'll move to approve.
I'll support.
Okay, we have a motion by Dunn, supported by Malaya. All in favor?
Aye.
Both same sign. Public comment on non-agenda items. Okay. Go to consent agenda, the executive director's report. Joe?
The director's report is submitted in your packet. Decorations are looking great downtown. DPW, Don and his crew have done a lot of work to get the decorations up, including the new holiday banners that we ordered over the summer, so it's looking great. Microbrews are still making progress, and at least one of them, their brewing equipment has been delivered, is installed. You may recall, we applied to the State Historic Preservation Office in regards to the National Register of Historic Places nomination service that they have, and that application has been submitted, reviewed, and we were selected to participate in that program. So we will follow their lead, but the next step would be in January. They'll work with us in determining what architectural historian consultant. And again, this is at no cost to the community. In January, I've partnered with the library. We're going to do 2 informational sessions about what the National Register is and what the National Register isn't, to clear up some misconceptions that we know that are out there. So there will be a fireside chat in January. I don't have the date in front of me, and then an evening talk discussion with the library. So that's a good thing. Another thing we should be thinking about after the first of the year is our annual Main Street accreditation process. So we'll be going through that again with Main Street Oakland County. So as normal, there's a summary of the last month's activities. I will say too that I was quite proud to see the turnout at the Main Street Streets workshop. There was 11 individuals who attended from the community, and that was board members, business owners, elected and appointed folks. So that was great, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later in the agenda.
Okay, treasurer's report.
I'll move to receive and file the director's report.
Oh.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Dunn, supported by Schultz. All in favor?
Aye.
Both same sign. Treasurer's report.
Just one note on here, you'll notice the amount. One of the reasons for that larger than our average amount is because of our transfer to debt service for our 2008 capital improvement bonds. The payment is due on January 1, but we wanted to make sure that those transfers and everything happened in a timely fashion to make all that happen. So that's the 15,808 and some change that you'll see there.
I'll make a motion to approve the treasurer's report with the bills with a total of $30,963.02.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Schultz, supported by Dunn. Susan, do you want to do a roll call, please?
Yes. Sam Barna,
Yes.
Sue Basardi,
Yes.
Rod Charles,
Yes.
Bill Dunn,
Yes.
Dorothy Johnston. Yes. Gina Amalia,
Yes.
Pete Schultz.
Yes.
Yes. Regina Woodson.
Yes.
Okay, then we have the DDA budget spreadsheet. We don't have that today.
Well, there's the budget spreadsheet that's
From the
pulled
village?
from the village,
Right, okay.
from the BSNA system.
Next, the code enforcement activity report.
No,
Go ahead.
if there are no questions, I'll move to receive and file.
Second that.
Okay, I just had one note. I wanted to make sure that people noticed on the police report that we've hired a commercial motor vehicle officer now. And he's doing a good job on Washington, so I wanted everybody to notice that.
What is it? Commercial what?
Motor vehicle,
Waymaster and inspection.
Waymaster, and checking trucks to make sure that they're,
So they stop them in the village limits before coming in? Okay.
yeah. Okay, we have a motion by, who did that?
Good idea,
Bill.
by the way.
Bill, and who else?
Me.
We have a motion by Dunn, supported by Johnson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. New business. NOTA, the downtown trolley. Lynn, do you want to do a,
Good evening. I'm Lynn Gustafson. I'm the Director of North Oakland Transportation. I was here in September and had briefly discussed during public comment the idea of NOTA possibly expanding its service to include a downtown trolley that would run between Oxford and Orion. This proposed fixed route would run May through September along M24, Thursdays through Sundays until 11 p.m. to help promote the businesses, the restaurants, the bars, and the shopping in Orion and Oxford. The proposed route would run from the Kmart in Orion and ending at the Meyer in Oxford, and it would stop in the village of Lake Orion, the Kroger, the downtown Oxford area, the Legacy Centers, and other bars, shops, or restaurants along the way. The projected fee is $1 per person. And the advantages to businesses, people enjoy riding on trolleys. It offers a nostalgic feel, which I think fits into both communities very well. By having people use the service, it will be dropping them off directly in front of many business establishments, which can only help boost sales, support local businesses, keep money in our communities, and promote community togetherness. I believe it's a win-win for residents and businesses. It would improve community service by offering transportation to everyone, not just the seniors and disabled that we service currently. The trolley could also be rented for special events and used in other community events, and possibly open in December to promote holiday shopping as well. There's also an app that the public can download on their smartphone to track the trolley, similar to Uber. So you can track it to see where the location is. So if you're in a business establishment, you can choose if you want to stay a little longer, shop longer, check out or whatnot. It gives people losing anxiety over when it'll be back and whatnot. Businesses can also be highlighted on this app, and businesses can pay to have their business located on the map, like a pin, and you can drill down. So if the business pays for the pin, you can drill down and get information about the business, so you can pay for that as well. Banner ads are also available for sale in the app that are circling. There's also advertising opportunities that will be available on the outside and the inside of the trolley so that you could purchase. The issue is the cost. The budget for this operation is anticipating a loss operational cost of $45,000. And the NOTA board, we had a meeting last week, and they seem to be in favor of it, but last week they were very adamant that 100% of these operational costs need to be covered outside of NODA. They believe that the millage that we collect should be kept for the seniors and the disabled, and that this trolley benefits the businesses enough that they should be paying for the operations of it. So the Orion and the Oxford DDA receive a portion of our millage, and I know that Orion capture is about $8,700, Oxford capture is about $3,900. However, even if this amount was returned to us, we would still need an additional $32,000 to fund the operations and to make this a reality. So I guess I'm leaving this idea to the DDAs. If there is an interest, I'd be happy to assist you in helping this become a reality. I've also approached the Chamber of Commerce. They seem to be very interested in the ideas. It's just going to be coming down to, seeing the money and seeing if we can actually fund this operation. Are there any questions?
I do have one. I would assume you've approached downtown and Lake Orion as well.
Yes.
Have you done that already?
I have.
Okay.
They have not. They have not made a decision yet.
Okay.
I was out of town for the last month's meeting, and so I missed it. But I am scheduled to meet with them. I'm actually meeting with both DDA chairman beginning of
Directors,
December.
Staff, both staff, to discuss specifically how this may work in relation to the M24 construction project, if there's any opportunities there.
Yeah.
But
So, sorry, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, the $45,000 that you're in need of, is that the cost that's needed to start the trolley project, or is that a yearly cost?
That's a yearly
So you
cost.
would need, so
It's a-
whatever the communities decide to do, they would have to do this every year?
right.
Okay.
If we want to continue.
Lynn, have you gone to any businesses to see if you can raise money through them and get sponsorship for ads and so on and so forth?
I've started to go through some of them. I haven't gotten any commitments yet. But I've started passing out some brochures, trying to get the word out, trying to get an idea of the interest. They seem to be interested in, but again, there's no commitment, so we need to have that to go forward.
Is the advertising actually external on the bus?
It can be.
Okay, it can be. I was gonna say.
And it can also be on the inside as
Okay.
well.
Lynn, I had a question too. So the $3,900, you would want to get that reallocated toward this service, right? That's the first part of the proposal?
I'm sorry.
Captured amount?
The capture amount.
Capture is
Kinda
part
get
of the
that
proposal as well.
Sent back to you instead of kept here.
Exactly.
And then you'd ask for money on top of that.
Yes. and
What
if it's-
amount?
Well, we need to make up $32,000 in total, so if it could be from businesses, from you, from the chambers, if there's some other area, grant funding, anyone that might be interested in making a contribution. I mean, we're open to a lot of different areas. It's
So this
just-
board, for example, could say, okay, we'll reallocate this $3,900, end of story, as far as this group here, right?
Yes.
Have you got anybody, I know you might have answered this question, so has anyone said, hey, we'll do it?
Not as of yet. I do not have any commitments. I have had a lot of interest, but again, no one that said, yes, we're interested in committing this amount of money towards this project. So, but again, this is the first one I've gone back to the second time. So I've just basically gone out for the first time with the organizations. And I'm looking again, this is for next May would be when the operation would be starting. So it's relatively new in the idea phase.
I personally think it's a unique idea, but I'm sure that you know that the DDA is struggling with money, and we have a huge road project coming up in 2 or 3 years. And we're putting as much money as we can away consistently, and we're trying to cut our expenses to do that. So I would not be in favor of giving back that money, that capture. I've heard this idea talked about for several years. This is not just new this year. It's been talked about before. And I think that, and this is my personal feeling, that when you guys put together your package to sell to the public to vote and to get those tax things, if you had extra things that you wanted to do and try new things, that you should have included that in the tax rather than making it so tight to the wire that you're only just existing. That's my own personal feeling. I don't think I would ever use it, quite frankly. because why would I take a trolley to go to Myers when I can drive up there and park? The same thing going to Kmart. I can drive down there and park, rather than waiting 30 minutes or being on a timetable that I would have to wait for the trolley to come back and pick me up. But again, that's just my own personal feeling.
Lynn, so this 45,000 and change, would you be able to do something like as a year or two and see how it runs, that sort of thing? So it's not like we're making some permanent infrastructure investment.
Yes.
So 45 grand and change would do a trial run for a year potentially, is that right?
Sure.
Okay. You know, I think I mentioned before, I know in talking with some of the people in NODA, like Eric Wilson, et cetera, he's always said it's a pretty efficient organization. He's always spoken highly of how well it's run, and apparently you guys don't waste a lot of money.
No, we try not to.
Well, I've heard that from a few people. You do a good job.
Well, thank you.
Lynn, what are the hours again, operation? Thursday through
It's through Sunday from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m.
11 p.m. So this would be a good way, we got the new breweries are coming, right? I mean, they're on their way, tanks are in. How many breweries are in Orion, one or two?
That's not
Lockhart's.
There's at least
Oh, there's Lockhart.
Just one?
Two, there's
Two?
Right.
So basically,
How do you know?
let's say from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m., if people wanted to go on a, what they used to call that in the old days when you would... Bar crawl? Thank you. You're doing a bar crawl from, let's just say now, we won't even call it a bar crawl, we're going to do a
microbrewery.
microbrewery crawl, microbrewery sampling. This would be available for that till 11 p.m.
Yes.
So you've had a problem in the village parking for years, all kinds of stuff, people under the influence, but this would be a way to allow people to go to these businesses safely, not having to park, and get up and down the road for $1.
Right.
For $1. Wow.
But they have to drive to Myers and park their car, or they have to park in one of our parking lots.
Really?
Park to catch the trolley. A trolley's not going to pick you up at your house
Understood.
and then go down there and drink all night and come back, and then you still have to get
Understood.
home.
I'm just asking questions.
No.
Thank you.
Lynn, who's going to purchase the trolley? Where's that money coming from?
We had some extra money in our budget for fixed assets that we could use to purchase a trolley. It's the running of the trolley that, the operational costs that we're looking to fund. Joe?
Do you have an anticipated timeline of what your advertising packages would look like?
There's, you mean as far as to promote them? I mean, and how much?
Yeah,
what
the rates
are?
and what, so is there an opportunity rather than simply give back the captured amount per se? Could that be more of an advertising type opportunity where for that amount back, downtown Oxford, visit downtownoxford.org kind of thing is on the trolley itself?
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea, Joe, because you could put like the Girlfriend's Walk on this date and things like that, community events. And I'm sure this route could be adjusted. So let's say like the football game between Oxford and Orion or something like that.
Exactly. It is. I don't have the set rates yet, but it'd be something that we could certainly work through.
There's your marketing idea right there. Did you write that down?
Good idea.
Sam got it.
What's the capacity of each of these trolleys?
Well, it depends on the ones that we're looking, generally between 23 and 30 passengers are a majority of them. Any other questions?
Again, I know that was mentioned about adjusting the route, so there could potentially be adjusted stops, so it wouldn't necessarily have to be someone possibly parking at the Meijer, and then let's assume someone does drink between, Lake Orion and Oxford and decides to come back on the trolley. Can the stops be manipulated to where maybe it's within walking distance of someone's home down in the village here in Oxford rather than actually them having to get into their car afterwards?
Well, there would be stops in downtown, in the village.
In the village itself?
Yes, in the village
Okay.
itself. So the proposed idea was to possibly have a couple parking spots that were set aside with a little trolley sign, so you could do in both north and southbound and stop, and that way people could know where to stop.
I think Sue and I could set up an Uber service. What do you think, Sue? Huh? This is an opportunity.
So there's some flexibility there is the
There is
bottom line.
definitely flexibility, sure.
So are you saying that, like, if you wanted to, had one customer who wanted to stop at Sullivan's, you'd stop at Sullivan's, and if somebody wanted to stop at the 24th Street, you'd stop there, somebody at the Ox, you'd stop there?
As long as it's on the
Or are you going to have
route.
one, so you're going to stop at every business?
If there's an interest in it. So, I mean, if someone's coming along and they want to stop at a certain place that's along the route, I see that as not an issue.
If I may, so take the drinking portion of that out of my comments earlier, but this would be more like a casino shuttle. So if I am, say, staying in Mackinac City, and I am playing cards at, St. Ignace, and I want to go back across, I can get on that shuttle and do that, and then up to 11 p.m., I can get back on and come back, right?
Right.
Plain and simple. It's just other means to get people out and about and promote the businesses in both
Exactly.
villages, Oxford and North.
Exactly.
Wow.
So, and this would be with current employees that you have?
We hope so. It would have to be a CDL. We currently don't require. We do have some employees that have CDLs, but the employee would have to have a CDL.
You ever thought about trying out with like a leasing service to start with? Is that a possibility too?
Possibility. It is. It's $3,500 a month. There's a 4-month minimum, and there is a purchase to, if you lease to buy, I think it's just $500 of it. The cost goes towards the purchase if you want to.
Just to see how well it's received, I think that would be great.
Right.
Trial runs.
Say 3 or 4 months. I'm
4
sorry.
months.
Yeah, 3 or 4.
That's, then you're basically buying the first year in 4 months. That's the problem with that.
Right.
I guess before, again, personally, before we were to commit, I would like to know whether Lake Orion is going to participate.
Certainly.
And then I'd like to see how you're going to pay for the rest of it. I'd like to see your sponsorship before we were to jump in and say,
And I
yes,
would
we'll
also
give it
ask
to
for
you.
your help as well, if for you to help me find sponsorship, if there's an interest, if you think that this is an interest, if you think of other businesses that could help, because, the board is really thinking that it's benefiting the businesses, and so I'm looking for your help as well to find that sponsorship and that backing as well.
Those 4 dealerships,
I mean, we're in the business of transporting, so we can handle that portion, and I have no, problems with, setting it up and running it. It's, but as far as the business end is something new for us, and so we would be looking to the DDAs in the chambers for help on how to support it.
Now, you chose $1, or at least that's the number that's provided for, that's a one-way trip, is that correct? Has there been any thought at all, and again, $1 is obviously very nominal, but what kind of analysis has been done, if any, in regards to maybe $2 or $2.50 per route?
It would, but I think $1 right now will bring like $4,000 based on the ride, so it's not going to be a huge amount difference. So even if you doubled it, it's at $8,000, so it's not a...
Just wondering if there was any type of, thought process in regards to what you think the take rate would be at
Exactly.
a slightly larger amount?
Obviously, there's donations that can be made, which would help with the operations, which a lot of times you'll have in addition.
Could you do a pass? Could you do a pass so they could pay it X amount of dollars and hopefully come out ahead?
That's certainly
It's
an
not
idea as well.
micromanaged.
I don't know, I just assumed this would be huge with the business owners, especially the restaurants.
Bill?
What do you expect from this board tonight?
I am looking for, number one, is there an interest in this, and also if there is an interest, maybe that you can discuss it amongst yourselves to come up with an idea, because I know the NOTA board is looking for financial backing. So I'm presenting this idea to you to see if there's an interest, if you think it's worthy of financially backing us in this endeavor.
Is the
Bill?
NOTA board going to get out and try and solicit businesses? They're not. Are you going to get out and solicit businesses to?
I have no problem soliciting, the NOTA board.
Be careful how you say that.
Well, not soliciting, but going and discussing the opportunity that,
Right.
yes.
Are you guys going to create your own pay structure, or are you looking for somebody to do that as well, as far as advertising space and costs?
I mean, do you have any thoughts or ideas on that at all?
We have some ideas, yes. There's a similar service in Grosse Pointe, so there's like a model that I kind of used from them on what they charge for the outside, inside, and the apps.
So on a procedural basis, what would we want to do? Let me ask the people on the board, would we have some kind of a vote that says we're interested? Or what would the nature of this be? I don't know. I'm not clear.
It's still vague, I don't.
Well, I mean, what is it? You're saying you want some idea, a show of support. How do we show that support? Do we say, we all take a vote and say we support the idea? That seems kind of nebulous or ambiguous, rather.
Right. Well, the recapture is a portion that you could vote on as well. I mean, that's the
But we could say that we would consider it without committing ourselves. Is that what you're asking us to do?
Plus, yes, and I probably would ask if, maybe even if we could meet as a group and try to come up with ideas on how to, to find the additional money to get the rest of the operational dollars that we would need.
It's a kind of a
I
concern
think
to me.
that, yeah.
Because we aren't flush in volunteerism, I'll be honest. And so with the events we put on, we're already like at, minimum people to help put some of the events on that we already do. So to ask the same people to kind of do more, kind of scares me a bit, to be honest, to help benefit your company in a way. I mean, I get that it benefits probably some businesses and people that are cruising around for food and that, but I'm not sure that we want to take on more, go out and solicit. I don't.
Okay.
More job to do for somebody
Right.
else, if that makes sense.
Well, and I don't think it's fair to push it on the executive director either. I mean, I think that he's stretched to the limit. If I thought that the NOTA board was going to get on board and try and help,
Spearhead it.
and,
go.
yeah, I'd feel more comfortable with it, but it sounds to me like they expect us, or they would like us to do the bulk of the work between the two DDAs and the chamber. And I know the chamber doesn't have money, so that we could certainly supply you guys with a list of the businesses, and I guess I would expect more your board to get out and walk the streets and sell the idea. Bill?
Would it be helpful to get a letter out to all parties, whether they're bars or restaurants, to have a meeting to see if they have any interest, and invite, the DDA boards to get everybody in one room together, and maybe you can get some volunteers, or at least get some feedback on whether the bars are going to want to contribute.
That's a great idea.
Rather than, beating individual doors.
Sure. And would the DDA have access to the information to do a mailing?
Exactly, the
That
DDA
might
would,
be-
and also the Chamber of Commerce, both
Right.
chambers and both DDAs.
Yeah, they can both furnish you with lists of the businesses in both downtowns, as far as that goes.
And if need be, maybe Sam knows somebody, we could even hold it at one of the schools, or, because, you might get 100 people, and I don't think we
Right.
can.
You could do it at the library, would be good, they have those two rooms down there.
But as far as tonight, you're looking for like a proclamation of interest?
Yes.
That,
Sounds like it.
and I think maybe that might be a compromise between saying, yes, we want to do it with Sue's concerns versus just jump right into it. So, I mean, personally, I'd say we should be at least interested, not throw it out yet, because we're looking at some good ideas here. And as Bill said, maybe we bring in some other parties that might take up some of this heavy lifting.
Right.
Because I agree with Sue, there's a lot of us that do things, not just around here, but other areas that, that overloaded on activities.
I'll make a motion to move forward with the possibility of, with the idea of just exploring the opportunities.
I support.
An exploration proclamation.
So is that your support or your motion?
That's my motion.
I thought you were making a motion.
Huh?
Go ahead, Bill. You do a good job. You're great with those proclamation explorations.
Okay, we have a motion by Dunn, supported by Barna. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Aye.
Good.
Thank you.
And the only reason, Lynn, that I voted no, just so you know, is because it's like Dorothy said, it's just too rubbery, jello-y. I don't see any plan, so to speak. It's just all vague, so vague that I just can't support it like that.
Like nailing Jell-O to the wall.
Yeah. I think you would have done better to be more prepared if you're going to go to Lake Orion, just a word of advice, because I just think that it's, you're too vague. Okay. M24 Task Force?
As well aware, M24 will be rebuilt through downtown Oxford and a little bit beyond. The plan for that project, we've already taken several steps over the course of the last year. Our ER committee has visited downtown Saline. We continue the dialogue with MDOT. We've went as far as restricting fund balance for improvements and promotions. Recently, 11 members of the community, including business owners and Downtown Development Authority board members, elected and appointed officials, attended that workshop hosted by Main Street Oakland County. That workshop presented the road project in downtown Farmington. The workshop was very informative, and it underscored the importance of pre-construction planning. And each of you now have in front of you this little booklet that Main Street Oakland County put together for us. Gave a little bit of information about planning. That was pretty much the number one thing that they drove home, obviously, was plan, and plan some more. But simple tactics to involve stakeholders and staying flexible, look for opportunities, kind of thing. So this is a resource for you folks. Some of you may already have a copy of this, and if you do have one at home or in your file somewhere and want to give the one in front of you back to me, that'd be welcomed because we can leave this for some committee members as well. So at this point, we've talked at the ER committee level, and my recommendation is that we assemble an interdisciplinary team of business owners, residents, officials to be proactive about our approach to this project. I had a great conversation this morning or this afternoon with Steve Winton, the project manager for this project, and there's some things that they're learning too, as far as, they were planning on and anticipating that this was being designed as a shelf project. So they were thinking, we got 5 more years than we really have, but now that it's off the shelf, they're really having to tighten up their timelines and everything as well. And so I think it's a great opportunity to stay ahead of it, because there's really 4 points. That's the Main Street 4-point approach that we got to focus on in this project. What does it look like? What kind of street poles do we want? And what kind of benches do we want to see? All the way down to how do we organize it? How do we get the community around the project and supporting the project? How do we promote it? There's a lot of promotion that's going to go into this, everything from gaining support from the downtown and beyond, the residents and so forth, but also to ensure that our business owners, ensure that we minimize the impact of the construction on our business owners. And then what does it look like for our economic vitality of downtown? How do we ensure that those business owners are not only promoted, but stay in business and keep their doors open? So what I'm looking at here is, and I've not gone out to community members and started to make asks yet, because I can't do that without a motion from the board to authorize a new committee be formed, essentially. But what I envision here is that perhaps some of the individuals who showed interest enough to take time off of their busy schedules to go down to this workshop, maybe some of those folks are the first that we have a conversation with to see if they're interested. And that may lead us to even some others. I know that David Lamb at Oxford Bank has expressed interest in this task force, and others. So at this point, I would like to get the ball rolling, and put together a team to focus on this project.
Joe, one of the things I would encourage you to do is look for some fresh faces, because as Sue said, we see the same people all over, meeting after meeting, and maybe some people that aren't
aren't already involved.
Yeah, because that's one of the big, even on the survey you put out here, some of the comments here about the old boys' exclusivity, closed-minded leadership, stuff like that. Maybe a way to get around some of that view of things is to have some people that you don't see at every meeting.
I agree.
Okay, what's the board's pleasure?
I'll make a motion for Joe to go forward with forming a committee for the M24 Task Force Committee.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Johnson, supported by, is it Malia?
Malia.
Malia.
It's close enough.
We're all pronouncing it something
I've been saying
different.
that wrong then.
That's all right.
That's okay.
Malia, right?
Yes.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Joe, can we just go back just one thing for the NOTA thing? What was the vote count on that?
8-1.
I voted no.
Oh, I didn't hear that. 7-2 then.
I didn't hear that either in my notes.
I didn't scream it out.
Okay, the next thing, budget amendments.
This is kind of more of a housekeeping type thing. At our June meeting, we allocated $2,367.50 from our budget line item grant facade, and there's the numbers there. And we placed that into restricted funds, and that was to ensure that in this fiscal year period, we would have a total of the 15,000 as normal. So we didn't want to allocate the money back in last fiscal year and then spend it in this fiscal year without rolling that money over, essentially. And so at this time, 8 North Washington, that project has been completed. The check has been cut. It's still pending some additional documentation, but the request is to transfer from the committed balance fund that amount kind of back into the working fund, so that working fund, the facade grant fund, will be to that 15,000, which will be available for future facade grants for this upcoming fiscal year.
Bill?
I make a motion to amend the budget to unrestrict $2,367.50 from committed fund balance 296,000,394.000 and place them back into budget item grant facade 296,730,996.060.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Dunn, supported by, was it you, Sam Barna? Susan, do you want to do a roll call, please?
Can I vote on this?
Yeah,
Okay.
because we're not spending money on it.
Okay.
Sam?
Yes.
Ben was telling me.
Sue?
Yes.
Sardi? Rod Charles?
Yes.
Bill Dunn?
Yes.
Dorothy Johnston?
Yes.
Gino Malia?
Yes.
Pete Schultz?
Yes.
Susan Sure, yes. Regina Woodson?
I have a question. Sorry. The $2,367, if you cut a check, where did that money come from?
It came out of the facade grant line item.
So we allocate it from our budget line item and place the amount into restricted funds. But you don't have the money anymore, right? Because you cut the check.
No, there is a, if you look back on our,
Check hasn't been issued, so we still have the money.
What'd you say?
The check has not been issued, so it's...
But the check was, it was authorized, but you're waiting on some backup information, right?
that's right. And if you look on our balance sheet, you'll see under,
Where's the balance sheet at?
okay, under the fund balance, there's fund balance and then committed fund balance. You'll see the 112,367.50 there. the 2,300.
What's your page look like? I'm sorry,
I'm sorry.
everybody. Is it this page?
By the way, this is revenue and expenditures.
Okay, this one, okay. All right, so,
I'm looking upside down here.
this is the committed fund right
That's
here.
correct.
And so where was it at?
It was in last year's budget, we're really rebudgeting it for this year is what it is.
Okay, I got you. Okay, my answer is yes. Sue? Yes.
Okay, the next thing, the treasurer vacancy.
I'll make a motion to happily elect Regina Woodson to the position of board treasurer.
Especially considering her previous question. It's a good question.
Boy, congratulations. You could-
I support. Quickly,
Welcome aboard.
Yes, I
We have a
ask
motion by
questions.
Dunn,
I
support
You ask
by
questions,
Schultz.
now you get the books.
I
All
do
in
ask
favor?
questions.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you, Regina.
Sure.
Very much.
Congratulations.
Keep those
Now
types
you got
of
to move to
questions
another
coming.
chair.
I do?
No.
Okay, old business, the Main Street, Oakland County Tech visit.
civic stuff.
This has been on our agenda for some time in one way, shape, or form or another. So at our October meeting, you were all here for the most part. Main Street, Oakland County brought the consultant, Jeff Ziegler, to do their visioning session. It's kind of a culmination of the public input sessions and the survey, and attached is their report that they came up with out of the dialogue we had at the public visioning sessions and the board conversation. So in conclusion, on page 7, they recommend the following 3 major strategies, one of which we're really already working on. Enhance Washington Street at 24 in an effort to be more welcoming to pedestrians, pedestrian walkability, pedestrian friendly. Increase community engagement, foster collaboration across major institutions. The report also recommends that the board should consider participating in an organizational development and implementation work session. Some years ago, there was kind of a day-long or afternoon-long board retreat kind of thing that this organization did. And that was to get the board members together, kind of outside of this setting. It's very formal and kind of stuffy, if you will, but to kind of relax a little bit and let the creative juices kind of flow for the upcoming year or whatever. So that's kind of what they're kind of recommending. Now, the report is very detailed. There's a lot of information in there. There's some things that are certainly more pertinent than others. You know, they have included marketing analysis, if you will, the 5-minute, 10-minute, and 20-minute drive times, what that looks like on a map, and also what are the retail gaps within those timelines. And then they also included some information on what they call tapestry segmentation. So this is demographics of what our markets are. You know, what do people within those timelines typically spend money on, kind of things, and what are they, you know, what's their educational background, income backgrounds, and so forth. So that information is in here as well. And I think that's a good piece. One of the things I've been working on with the ER committee is a business retention and recruitment plan. And a lot of this stuff that's in here can very easily be I don't want to say amended, molded to fit into the format there. And so there's some good information there. So really this packet, this is much smaller than it feels when you first pick it up, because a lot of that stuff is really more informational things. But, you know, it was interesting, and Rod picked up on this a few moments ago when you read some of these things about, you know, there's a feeling out there that the boards and councils and commissions in this community don't reach out enough, don't engage enough. And I don't want our board to be that board that's not, you know, making those positive strides. So I think that by focusing on this visioning, we got a little bit of a direction, and maybe we can build on that. So if that's something we want to do, if we wanted to do more of a organizational development kind of workshop with Main Street, They, obviously have said that they would help us with that, but I'll kind of lean on you folks, and I'd love to hear some of your discussion and initial thoughts to this, but also to the process that we went through.
I do have a question.
No, I'm looking for any
What
comments.
is the area that these particular things talk about? Is that the state? Is that the country? Is that our?
No, these are kind of, and some of these have maps included on them too, so you can kind of see where those, demographics
Okay,
sort of
so that's the
reside.
country then?
But yes, these are the ones that are in our immediate area,
Okay.
to one extent or another. And let me look at this again. One of these pages, I think, has kind of the percent of what tapestries are in this area. Oh, here we go, page 7 of 13, the demographic analysis. You can see the top 5, and they've broken it down by 5-minute drive time. That's from the center of downtown, 10 minutes and 20 minutes.
Okay.
20 minutes, you really, if you look at the map a little earlier, you really start to get into some other major markets. Rochester, the outskirts of Rochester kind of get touched by that 20-minute line. Also Lapeer, really down to Auburn Hills, especially given traffic. So, our market, in one sense, is much larger than we sometimes give it credit for, but also within those times, there are some very large competitive communities that we're sort of up against. So realistically, maybe even the 10-minute drive time is maybe more what our true retail market is. And it probably doesn't help us to a certain extent, our proximity to Great Lakes Crossing. You can hop in the car, half hour, you can pretty much have anything you need down there. So these are, kind of
Very rarely.
what's in this area and what the demand is. And the way these numbers are arrived on the retail gaps is, the credit card companies and the debit card companies and all that, when you purchase something, it's tied to your zip code and they know what's being purchased where and so forth and how much. So it's interesting to see some of these numbers, like a bookstore, within 5 minutes, there's a retail gap of $1 million+ in bookstores, periodicals, music. In that 20 minutes, there's a $12 million gap. So this might be a good location to locate a bookstore.
We've had several bookstores here over the years.
Have we? And they're not here, so it tells me how they did.
Well, there's been here, and there's been in Lake Warren, there's one too. How many years was that, Sue? We had a bookstore here.
We had it for several years.
Yeah.
But then she moved to Lake Orion, and
Right.
Yeah.
it didn't work down there. So,
Well, and what these numbers can really do is kind of help guide us to what we could be recruiting. And then you can use these numbers in part of those recruitment packages. If you wanted to go after a shoe store, there's a $1.1 million in 5 minutes time, or 2.7 in 10 minutes time for shoes. And so maybe if we wanted to tailor a specific flyer or something to a specific type of business, it's just good data to support that information.
So, somebody asked me a question this morning. What's the average cost per square foot in Oxford?
I don't have that exact number, but I know that there's one business that it's going to $18 a square foot.
Really? That's pretty rich around here, I thought.
I would agree, and that's likely why that small business is not going to be with us for much longer.
Virginia, you were...
I was thinking around $14, $15, but you're saying $18.
Yeah, that would be an exception to 18. I think
Okay.
it's probably closer to 14 or less. Anyone else know? Bill, do you have any idea, or Sue?
No, unless Snyder's here, I wouldn't know.
from the merchant's perspective, or small business owners, it's my understanding that it's too expensive.
Well, most tenants will say that, but I wonder what,
I don't know.
compared to even Orion, what it would be.
Less.
Yeah, I've not done that analysis, and I've not asked Main Street to do that, but we could certainly put those numbers together as part of the
It'd be interesting to know
the
that.
business retention.
Just this morning, I had two people ask me, you know, just in
When I was
conversation.
looking, Oxford is definitely less than Lake Orion.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Well, and I would, some of these numbers, when you look at them, like, for instance, to have a shoe store, it would be wonderful to have a shoe store in Oxford, but the reality is that it couldn't stay in business because we couldn't support it when you'd have, the stock that you would have to carry and the updates constantly, styles changing, a small business owner could not
About shoes and books.
business. Yeah, shoe and books. Maybe get 3, whatever the lowest was, and maybe we'd make it. But I think because we're close to Great Lakes, it skews some of these numbers.
I'm sure it might, and, you know, obviously, you see here, there's a blank spot there on the 5-minute drive time and the 10-minute drive time for full-service restaurants. So if somebody came to us and said, hey, I want to open a full-service restaurant, it's probably not going to work. And that's by virtue of we have quality food service restaurants already, that there's actually a surplus in this market. So, you know, maybe a limited service kind of, you know.
Are you limited in your conversation at a retail versus office?
This just identifies retail, but I
My
would,
point being is that if you had office, you know, attractive office and
Yeah.
commensurate type of tenants, then you also add to your retail, because obviously people need customers, right?
that's correct.
And one of the issues in Oxford is once you're on 24, you don't want to pull over because the darn traffic is so bad.
That's correct.
So it's drive-through to Lapeer or drive-through to Lower Oxford, but you don't stop because of the traffic.
That's right.
But if you had offices, then those people are already in town.
Yeah, and to a certain
True in the board
extent,
office, Sam?
I'm sorry?
Would that be true of the board office? I mean, where do people at the board office go out for lunch? Or do you bring your own lunch? I don't know.
A lot of people bring their own lunch, quite frankly. Yeah. Or if you have a meeting at the high school, you dine at the high school, as an example. But, you know, there are occasions we'll grab a bite to eat at, you know, 24 or, you know, one of the local restaurants, just walk to it if it's nice outside, as an example, so.
yeah, this certainly does not quantify the office demand. But there is an argument to be said that we are a services-oriented downtown as well. We have insurance agents, and we have chiropractors and dentists and medical offices. And in some cases, that's more complementary to restaurants than even retail, because all of those employees, all those folks have to eat somewhere too. And so, you know, there is retail in a reasonable drive time, like Great Lakes Crossing. But if you're living up in Metamora, where do you go to the doctor's office? Well, maybe you come to downtown Oxford because Crittenson's here and Beaumont's here and McLaren's here.
Great Lakes Crossing, I don't know. Maybe I'm out of it because maybe it's, I can't remember the last time in the Great Lakes Crossing.
I can't either.
I mean, you guys here go to Great Lakes Crossing? Do you? I don't know
every
anybody
week.
that said that they go there. I mean, to me, I've always heard it has nothing but a bad reputation for safety and other things. I mean, if someone's going shopping, they're going to go to Rochester, they're not going to go to Great Lakes Crossing. You got better quality shopping and things like that, so.
And that's even 30 minutes, 20 minutes, so it's the same
Yeah.
distance.
Right, so why go to Great Lakes Crossing? You got a nicer environment somewhere else. But I'm saying, but still, the point is the same, regardless, you're not
Sure.
here.
Yeah. There are some other major markets that we're kind
They're
of
pulling you, yeah.
pull our dollars elsewhere.
Yeah, and it's all south. I can't imagine too much being in Flint, or, well, Flint, but also even Lapeer. There's not a lot in Lapeer. Yeah. No
That's
offense.
more of a resource for us. We can do with those numbers what we want. We can use those as a guide as we develop our strategies and work plans and so forth. I plan, and this is nothing new. We've had some of this. I've had some of this from the county already, so it's just incorporated into this report really for your convenience. And it's not as, it's synthesized that it doesn't look like a raw spit out from a computer, you know, this is a little easier to read. So, any other thoughts on the visioning session? I know we've talked quite a bit now about the market side of things, but what were your thoughts? Did this fulfill the goals of visioning? Do you guys feel like we have our vision and we're moving forward into the future, or do you feel like we maybe have some more work to do?
My overall impression, one thing I'm always impressed with is the mission statement I put together. I think that was one of your initial forays that I would call a success. It does bring in some focus.
That's right. And if you notice, it's on almost everything I put out there.
I've noticed that.
So if it doesn't fit into the mission, it shouldn't be happening. And really, that all comes from the legislation and the ordinance. It spells out what our purposes are. And so that wasn't, I'd like to take credit for that, but promotion, development, preservation was definitely not original.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We're not
It's what we should.
trying to reinvent
Yeah,
things.
That's right.
Joe, I for one think that this would be very beneficial to me since I'm very new to the board, setting up this organizational development work session. You know, it gets us all knowing each other a little bit better, gets us all knowing where we're all coming from. And frankly, we have a very large project in front of us in a few short years. Plan, right? So I think that's part of it.
Sam, I'll second it.
I think it's good.
Was there a motion attached to this?
A motion to adjourn, is that what you said, Sam?
Bland.
Who seconded it, Pete? We have a motion by Barna, supported by Schultz. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Board member comments? Sam?
None, besides the fact that I really enjoyed attending the session that we did, approximately 3 weeks ago. That was a good session. Really, just very factual. This is what you need to do. I thought it was very helpful.
Oh, you mean the street session?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was very helpful. Thank you.
Susan?
I wasn't able to attend, but I look forward to the future. Main Street, so, thank you.
25.
Kate?
Regina, thank you for volunteering to step forward. Good job.
My
I'll
pleasure.
work closely with you to make sure that you have what you need to get the job
Thank you,
done, so.
thank you. Appreciate that.
Bill?
No comment.
Dorothy?
Just want to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy
Yep,
Thanksgiving.
Ditto.
Brad?
Nope.
No, I'm staying.
No comments?
Regina?
Nope.
Gina?
Thanksgiving.
Can I give my comment?
Okay.
Thank you. I wanted to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. I also want to remind everybody to shop local on Saturday, Small Business Saturday. I wanted to thank all the board members who attended that street conference. I thought that was very educational, and Farmington did a fabulous job with what they did. And I wanted to also recognize Joe getting that article on the front page of the Oakland Press. Oh, my God. It was like, whoa, about the soup and sweet
Well,
straw.
I've only been sending out press releases for a year and a half, so.
I know, but whatever you did this time worked. Yeah, it was really. And I also want to thank you for doing the historic preservation thing. That was a lot of work, I know, and a lot of effort on your part. And I want to thank you for the successful outcome
Thank you.
of it. Okay, now you can do.
Motion to adjourn?
Support.
We have a motion by Schultz, supported by Dunn. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Aye.